Hello, friends. We continue to answer your questions. Today's topic is what is deism? What do you think about deism?
First of all, thank you. To briefly explain, deism is the belief in a creator, but it rejects the existence of prophets and religions. That's the summary. However, there can be as many interpretations as there are people. It is not an idea that directly concerns Islam. It is a concept that emerged in Europe as a reaction to Christianity's dismissal of reason and the oppression of the church. However, we have started to see its manifestations here as well. Moreover, it's not even a new idea. It is a belief that even the polytheists during the era of the Prophet had. In other words, they believe in a creator, they supposedly believe in Allah, but they do not accept, or rather do not want, him to intervene directly in life through his religion and commandments. First of all, let us state this. The idea of deism has been completely refuted in the Risale-i-Nur collection. For example, in the 25th word, it is explained in 7 miraculous aspects and 40 miraculous ways how the Quran is a miracle, and all aspects of its miraculousness are presented in such a way that it proves the Quran is truly the word of Allah. I recommend reading this treatise. Additionally, in the 10th word, in the second point immediately following the introduction, this idea is completely refuted. If our listeners read these, they will gain a detailed understanding of the subject. They will realize how weak the foundations of this idea are. Let us explain 1 or 2 key points. First of all, no one in the universe can deny Allah. If someone tries, since there is as much evidence as the entire universe, and the whole universe would refute and deny him, he remains silent and indifferent. Because Allah cannot be denied, a second satanic idea has emerged here, the denial of religions. They say, I do not deny Allah, I do not deny the Creator, but I deny religion. In other words, we can say that this is a joint scheme of the ego and Satan to free ourselves from the effects of religion on us and its interference in our lives.
So, as far as we understand, since they cannot deny Allah, because if they did, as you said, the entire universe with all its evidence and proofs would testify to Allah's existence. At this point, since they cannot deny it, we understand that they resort to such an idea as a second option.
Yes, people who are drawn to this idea, people who are influenced by this idea, the existence of many beliefs, the issue of finding the true belief among them, the errors within the false beliefs, individuals' personal mistakes, certain pressures within religion, and the mistakes made by those who represent religion. Let's say all these factors cause this idea to gain more arguments and become stronger. Because wherever there are people, there will be mistakes. The issue we need to look at when it comes to Islam is whether there is any mistake in Islam itself. Is there any deficiency in Islam? God forbid. There may be faults among Muslims. This is the point we need to focus on. So at this point, what falls to us is this. In religious matters, we should avoid imposing our own interpretations and instead base our understanding on the essence of the religion, on the Quran and the Sunnah. We should not force our own views or turn religious matters into a means of pressure or coercion. In other words, we must not stray from these fundamental principles. Unfortunately, such abuses and misguided thoughts also pave the way for these deviant ideas to infiltrate among us.